You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I am going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, brilliant soul. After much encouragement from TikTok, I felt called to watch The Substance, a movie that's about toxic beauty standards and celebrity culture. This film felt incredibly impactful, ripened with undertones that I feel called to explore with you today. The Substance is beyond a film, it's a mirror reflecting habits around how we relate to ourselves, to our imperfections, to our aging, and to the powerful concept of what happens when we fail to embrace our own authenticity and wholeness. In this episode of Practical and Woo, I'm going to break down how pitting yourself against yourself, how fighting with your own reflection and desires can actually diminish your quality of life. Not to mention your manifesting prowess, leading you to the opposite results than what you're seeking to achieve. I'll share insights about how we are being called to move away from the toxicity of beauty standards by recognizing instead the innate beauty and perfection that exists within each of us. It's time to celebrate all of the parts of you without continuing this tendency to diminish or reject even a single piece. Here's the truth. Every part of you, every angle, every side, every layer, every facet, every feature holds innate worth and powerful magic. So let's dive in to this deep journey of self-acceptance, self-love, and remembering who you truly are. Now, I apologize in advance if you have yet to see this movie. I will do my absolute best not to spoil its thrill. What I will say is that The Substance offers a fascinating commentary on one's search for physical perfection. It's an exploration of what happens when we try to re-engineer who we are or who we are designed to be. It speaks to the illusion that somehow we are inherently flawed or that there's something that we must fix about ourselves, especially as we age, in order to be considered whole or worthy. This very narrative is deeply woven into our culture, and it often comes with a heavy price. The journey pursuing perfection has become a cultural desire, but here's where it gets tricky. We get so caught up in trying to fix ourselves that we don't recognize what's truly valuable. It's kind of like the story of Midas, a king so enamored with money and riches that he gains what he initially thinks is a superpower to turn everything that he touches into gold. On the surface, this sounds blissful and splendid. Who wouldn't want that? You might wonder. But when Midas turns beautiful, animate, loved ones into frozen statues cast in gold, he is left in the world completely unable to connect. He's left alone, surrounded by the luxury that fills his empty rooms. Toxic beauty standards perpetuate something similar, the constant obsession to nip, tuck, and correct, chasing beauty by condemning ourselves as we are. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen the full moon with your own eyes, larger than life, shining a luminescent glow that awes and inspires? Streams of pearlescent tones cascading across the night sky. Yet the second you try to snap a photo to capture the beauty of the moon, it somehow doesn't translate. In other words, the photo of the moon never looks like how it looked in person. In a similar sense, what if we're missing our own magnificence by chasing the reflection of beauty rather than embodying it wholly and completely as it is and as it exists for us in each moment? Because the truth is that we are already whole and perfect as we are. It's in this relentless pursuit of improvement or fixing that we begin to lose sight of ourselves and of our inherent beauty, wisdom, and power. One area where we often see the most resistance in our society is with aging in particular. As time passes, many of us begin to worry about the changes that are happening in our bodies, the wrinkles that tell a story, or the gray hairs that highlight our wisdom. What if we reframed aging as a beautiful evolution, as a testament to the acumen, the experiences, and the growth that we've encountered throughout our lives? I actually have a theory that the more you tap into your spiritual essence, the more you embrace your inherent perfection, the more you flex the muscles of your authentic manifesting prowess, the more gracefully you age and develop. Though the ins and outs of this theory is probably meant for a different episode, what I want you to consider is how the aging process is often reflecting a continued departure from the days of childhood, where imagination, curiosity, and play took center stage. Society teaches you to harden, teaches you to turn away from these tenets and towards the rigidity of criticism and unfulfillment. It's no wonder that our atrophied spirits are reflected in a displeasing experience of aging, one that is marred with fault and failure instead of love, acceptance, evolution, and fulfillment. Aging isn't about fading away or losing value. It's about growing into the fullness of who you are. It's about becoming more aligned with the wisdom and grace that comes from experience and a life well lived. And this is where the true beauty lies, in the ability to surrender to the flow of life, to allow yourself to evolve and to change while still remaining deeply connected to your innermost self. When you embrace the inevitability of change, not just with your body, but with your soul, you open up the space for you to shine even brighter. Your life, your story, your journey, it becomes more radiant than ever before. One of the most poignant parts of the substance that struck me was the creation of what eventually became a Frankenstein monster. The main character essentially grows with an increased careless abuse for themselves, continuing to poke and to prod, making choices that ultimately lead to an irreparable mishap. Straying so far away from the version of themselves that they were desiring and capable of being, that they ultimately lead themselves to their own tragic demise. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a scientist similarly creates a being whom he rejects because of its appearance, because of its flaws and the perceived monstrosity. But what makes this tale so thought-provoking, just like in The Substance, is that the creature, who is essentially an extension of Dr. Frankenstein himself, aptly highlights his own self-rejection, the parts of himself that he cannot bear to tolerate or to embrace. In energy work, it's often understood that everything in the universe, including our thoughts, emotions, and our physical form, is made up of energy. When we push fragmented parts of ourselves into the shadows, we cut ourselves off from vital sources of energy that they contain. And in doing so, we often limit the most powerful parts of who we are. Consider the concept of the shadow self, which is central to many spiritual and psychological traditions, including Jungian psychology. The shadow consists of the parts of ourselves that we disown or repress because they don't align with our conscious self-image. These may include qualities like anger, jealousy, insecurity, or even our deepest fears. While we deem these traits to be negative or undesirable, they hold significant potential. Anger, for example, is often seen as a destructive emotion, yet when channeled constructively, it can fuel action and bring about change. The emotion of fear, while often paralyzing, can be a profound source of insight, guiding us toward areas of our lives that require attention, healing, or transformation. By resisting our emotions, we suppress the energy that could help us to take decisive steps forward in our personal development. When we allow ourselves to instead embrace our shadow and integrate the parts we've rejected, we unlock a more authentic, powerful energy within. A process of integration that involves facing the uncomfortable or painful parts of ourselves, allowing them to be felt, understood, and expressed in healthy ways. When we reclaim all that was once bound up in this repression, we can direct it towards our goals, dreams, and self-actualization. In a world that often tells us we need to be different, better, or more in order to be worthy, it's no wonder we struggle with embracing ourselves fully. But the truth is that we can only step into our fullest power and our truest selves when we accept every part of who we are, not just the parts that we like or that we favor. Think about how you feel when you accept yourself, not in spite of your flaws, but because of them. There is such a power in knowing that you are whole and complete as you are. No more fighting, no more striving to become different than you are. I want to invite you to be excited, proud, and honored to be you in all of your glory now and in all of what you're learning and growing to be. I want you to remember that you are beautiful. You are complete. You are a creation of the universe who is capable of experiencing love, joy, fulfillment in every moment. So take your next step in the fullness of who you are. Until next time.